Hey, and welcome back to the Holding Space podcast with Coach V. I am here with you for episode number 6. Technically, it's episode number 7. Number 5, it was the bomb. And so we had a lot to talk about, and it ended up being a part 1 and a part 2. But anyway, welcome back. I'm glad that you're back with me. We are holding space for motherless daughters, and this season 1 of the podcast. And this season is almost coming to a close because we'll probably have about 8 episodes. So that means probably about 2 more episodes before we take a little break. But I'm going to be here continuously holding space for motherless daughters. And the next season will be holding space for people who were in toxic relationships. That includes me. I'm not excluded from that, okay? Because let me tell you, I have had my share of toxic relationships, and that's for season 2. But anyway, so in this episode, we are going to talk about positive expectancy. And the reason this has come up for me is because I was just really tired of every time that I thought about my mom after she passed, it was filled with just such sadness, and nothing about my mom nor our relationship was ever sad. So I just was like, I'm really tired of just being sad and just, crying. And every time that I think about her, and I just didn't want to, I didn't want that to be what I related to my mom every time I thought about her, because her life was so full, her life was so full of laughter. Like my mom laughed like so much, and I love to laugh. I don't like to, be in sadness. I don't like to watch sad stuff. A lot of times I want to be watching comedy or romantic movies, or I want to always be laughing. That's just me. I don't know about you, but that's just me. And so I decided that I was going to really kind of redefine my relationship with grief as it relates to my mom. And so anytime that I would, miss her or anything like that, and I would start to feel sad, I automatically started thinking about the good times that I had with her. So many memories, like, going on vacations when I was younger. Like we always did have vacations. We always were around family. She always wanted to make sure that regardless of where the family was, whether we had to travel to the family or we had to, whatever we had to do, we always were making memories. She always had pictures around, was taking pictures. We had tons of photo albums to, just capture the moments and the memories of life. And I love that about her. And I took that from her because, man, when I say I love to take pictures and videos, and oh my God, it just really, I really get upset sometimes because I don't have any videos of her. I did have a video of when I was delivering my first child, and she was in that video, but I don't know what happened to the video. And that just makes me so upset sometimes when I think about it, because I don't have um any video of her. I don't remember what her voice sounds like, but let me tell you, I remember what her laugh sounds like. That is how much she laughed and how robust and loud her laugh was, and it just always used to make me laugh when she laughed. And um it I was reminded of that literally, I want to say it was last week or the week before that, because I laughed so hard. I literally heard my mom, and it made me so happy because literally maybe a month or two ago, I realized I don't remember what my mom's voice sounds like. I don't remember it. And now, although I don't like to be in sadness, that did make me kind of sad because I don't remember what her talking voice sounds like, but I remember what that laugh sounds like. So yeah, but anyway, excuse me. back to the positive expectancy and me really kind of redefining what grief looked like for me as it relates to my mom and her passing. I just really did not want to associate sadness and me being sad every time I thought about her. So, like I said before, I really just went straight to the memories of everything that we ever done. Even memories like from back when I was going to kindergarten. Y'all, my mama, she wasn't working and she went to school with me every single day. And literally almost every day she stayed the whole day in my kindergarten year of school. And it was, I remember I loved it because we had so much fun. She went on the field trips and everything. And of course, when she did start working later on, I want to say maybe first or second grade, of course that stopped, but that was just so fun for me. And that was a core childhood memory that I have. And I remember her making my outfits. My mom, like I told y'all before, she was the Jill, or if you want to call it the jack of all trades. That was her. She could do anything. And she would sew, she made her own clothes because she was a big lady. And a lot of times clothes cost a lot of money for bigger sizes. And so, and also shoes. She had really big feet too. And so she had to always order her shoes and they cost a lot of money. So with her being able to sew, baby, when I say she would make some bad outfits, oh my gosh, she would make some bad outfits. And she used to make my outfits when I was in kindergarten. I don't know when she stopped making my outfits, but she used to make them, and I remember the little dresses with the little knots, um, the straps like this, but it would have like little knots and bows right here, and they were just so cute. And I those are the things that I remember about my mom, and how I just loved it. And I don't know, I can't describe the feeling that I had back then, but those are the memories that I go straight to whenever I start to miss her. And also, there is something that I go to whenever I say, oh, well, she's missing out on everything. And I just really want her to be here, which is all the time, honestly. But I just think about how grateful I am that she was able to witness the birth of her first two grandchildren, which is so special. She was there with me and for me the entire time, the entire pregnancies, the entire birth. Afterwards, like she was so supportive. She was such a supportive mom. And I am grateful that she was able to witness that. She was able to help raise them. She was a part of their lives every single day. So when I think about the things that she's missing out on, like she didn't get to meet my last child, but I feel like, and y'all, this is crazy. I'm gonna tell y'all a story in just a second. But I feel like I know she's here. I know she's here, but at the same time, it's of course it's not the same. It is definitely not the same. But me knowing that she got the chance to experience raising and help raising my first two children, and she experienced them being born with me, that is so special to me, and I hold that like really really close to my heart. Speaking of her not meeting my last child, I was with my best friend. She was at my house, and my last child was probably about hmm he probably was like one, getting ready to be two, somewhere around there. And my best friend had came and she picked him up and she held him up in the air and she was just like, "Oh, you're so cute." She said, "Oh, you look just like Angie." And Angie, that's my mom. Her name was Angela. And she said, "Is that you, Angie?" And I kid you not, my 1 year old, his voice was it was so scary, y'all. He said, "Yes." And I ran out of the room. And my best friend was like, "Oh my god." And y'all, he was only one. Like, there was no way. You cannot tell me that that was not my mama. You are not gonna tell me that that was not her. Because when I say it was so creepy. It creeped me out. I ain't gonna lie. It creeped me out. But it was an experience that was like, damn, did she come through my baby? Like, I really feel like that's what happened. Can't nobody tell me no different. But anyway, so I hold on to those moments, as well as I remember a time when right after she passed away, and she was when she passed away, I- it was not a pretty sight, and so it was, sounds being made, eyes rolling in the back of the head. Like, her last day, it was just not pretty. And so for me, that kind of stuck in my mind, not kind of, but it did. It stuck in my head, and I wasn't able to sleep. I could not sleep. If I went to sleep, it was because I was just dog tired. I had to have the TV on, or I had to have some music on. I had to have something on in order for me to just fall asleep. And it was very bothersome. I ain't gonna lie. Because every time I closed my eyes, the vision of her last day, what she looked like, what she sounded like, what she was going through, that was what I envisioned when I closed my eyes. And so that's why I wasn't able to sleep. And so one day, my husband was working overnight, and cleaning Harris Teeter buildings, and like buffing the floors and doing those types of things when the store is closed. And so I took him to work one night, and I just was like, I'm so tired. I'm just going to sleep in the car, and, just come out when you get done. I'm just going to stay here because I'm too tired to drive back home. So I went to sleep in the car, and the next thing I know, I'm driving in the car, and she is in the passenger seat. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing here? And she's like, I'm okay. I'm all right. And I'm like, but no, Mom, what? You're here with me. Like, is this real? And I remember saying that, is this real? And she just kept saying and smiling at me and saying, I'm okay. I'm okay. And so when I woke up because I heard myself crying, and I was literally crying in my sleep. And I could not, even after I woke up, I could not stop crying because she came to me. Like, before that time, she had not come to me. And I'm not sure exactly how long she had been gone, that I had that dream. But that really, it eased my mind, but it really had me like, because that had never happened to me before. But she knew that I was struggling and I was having a hard time with the whole thing. And I was just, I was doing the best that I could, but it was really hard for me. And I really didn't know how, I didn't know how to be like, being the only child, and losing your mom, especially when you have a close relationship, and like, she's a part of every part of your life. Like, I just didn't know how to be. I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know what to think, or like, I couldn't move forward. I kind of I was stuck. I was stuck. And so after that dream, it really kind of, it eased my mind, but it also kind of messed me up too. And so I was still not able to go to sleep, close my eyes without seeing that vision. So I went to church, and at that time I was in the church, going to church heavy, and I just went up for prayer because I was tired. I was delusional. I was delirious, not delusional, but delirious because I wasn't getting enough sleep because I couldn't sleep. And so I went up to be prayed for. And baby, when I tell you, this woman prayed for me, she prayed for me, like, literally, she was in my ear like this, and she was holding on to me. And she prayed, and she prayed, and she prayed. And when I say after that, I ain't have no problems going to sleep ever again, ever again. That woman prayed that vision up out of me. And all I see from my mother now, and from that point on, was all the good memories, how she was never sick, how she always was on the go, how she always was a giver of her time, giver of anything that she had, and her gifts and all of those things. Those are the things that I remember from her, and that's how I like to remember her, and not just in a sad way. And that has helped me so much to get from where I was when she first passed to where I am now, to where if I get emotional, it's because, yes, of course I miss her, but it's not because I'm just filled with sadness because she's gone. So I just, I just love to sit in the positivity of it all, like, because I'm just not a sad person. I'm sorry. Even if I am sad, like, it really does not last long. And it's because that's what I choose. That's what I choose. I still have my moments. Yes, and I'm going to continue to still have my moments where I am, crying or I miss her, those types of things. That's going to continue until I'm gone. I'm sure of it. But I just choose not to sit in sadness, and I choose to remember the positive things, remember the good memories of us and her, and, who she was as a person. And so that's just where I stand with it. And I know that a lot of people can benefit from that if that's what you choose. And that's how you choose to reframe grieving for your loved one, especially for your mom, because you're gonna never not have moments where you miss your mom, or where you have thoughts, and you start to get sad. Excuse me. So I just want to, put that out there, and encourage you to take on that mindset of that positive, expectancy, where you expect, there's better, there is better. So that mindset can be taken with anything, not just when you're grieving, that it's going to get better. You can take that with anything that you're going through, any situation. When you expect that things are going to get better and that you will be better, then it's going to be, because that's what you're going to work towards. But, I also, one other thing I just always think about as well is that my mom, just like anybody else that's placed here on this earth, has their she had her own journey to walk while she was here. She had her own mission and things that she was supposed to do and supposed to fulfill while she was here. And when their time is up, it's up. So, you know, we are only placed here temporarily anyway. So that's another thing that I think about, is that, even though I miss her, and, she was my mom, and, I was hers, all of those good things, she was placed here for a reason. She had her own path to walk, she had her own journey. God placed her here for the time that He needed her here. And that was that. And so that's also something that I have accepted as well. So in saying that, I accept those things because I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be sad, especially over things that I can't control. We don't have any control of when our loved ones pass away. We don't have any control of how, we don't have any control of really a lot of situations. And see, in this, I choose to accept, that was her journey, because it was. And it allows me to look at it in a more positive light, instead of, why did she have to go so soon, or that type of thing. You don't have to focus on the negative, or the sad part of it. You don't. That's really the first thing that I wanted to talk about. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was I'm not gonna call it trauma, but one thing that has happened in losing my mom and going through that traumatic experience, because honestly, like, funerals are very traumatic. So, because that was one of the other things. During her funeral, and my dad's as well, it was so traumatic for me to sit in the front row and have their bodies in a casket where I could see them dead and not, I don't know, it was so strange to me. And after those 2 funerals, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I cannot, and I won't subject to myself to going to funerals, especially if it's not like a close, like my grandma, my aunts, or my like best friends, my like that type of thing. I don't think I can do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to attend funerals. So I stopped. I have gone to like a uncle's funeral after the fact. It's so hard for me. It's so hard for me. And I think what happens is, I don't know, it's probably triggering for me. It probably triggers me and takes me back to the funerals of my mom and my dad. So I really don't do funerals. I'm not saying that I won't ever go to, someone's funeral again, because I'm sure I will, but it won't just be, how some people just go to people's funeral just to be going. No, I don't do that. Mm-mm. And it doesn't mean that I don't love them or that I don't, care, or that I'm being disrespectful or anything like that. But it's because of what I have been through with the deaths of my mom and my dad. And just know that you don't have to attend. You can send your love, you can, you know, support in other ways. You don't have to put yourself through that trauma again if that's something that you go through after experiencing the loss of your mom. You don't have to do it. And I'm very okay in that. I'm very okay. Like, I don't feel any type of way about it, and hopefully people understand it. But if they don't, they just don't. But that is just me personally. So I yeah, I don't do the funerals. I don't do it, and it's as a result of the passing of my mom. So yeah. But anyway, y'all, I think that is all. I appreciate you guys for your support, and make sure that if you have not subscribed to the channel, and also leave me some comments. Let me know what your thoughts are if you are experiencing the same things, and make sure if you have not checked out the other episodes of this podcast, please make sure that you check them out. So we're on YouTube where you can see the visual, but also the podcast is available through Apple Podcasts, through Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube Podcasts. So thank you so much for your support, and I will see you guys the next time. Okay, bye.